What's up, everybody? Welcome to Theology in the Dirt. Here at Theology in the Dirt, we make it our aim to practice our theology in the public square of our homes, our city, and our world. Check out theologyinthedirt.com for some sermon notes, podcast links, and a merch store. We thank you for joining us. My name's Mitchell Jolly.
I'm Chris Hayes.
John Palmer.
How about we shake and bake?
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake! Shake and then bake! Shake and bake!
Shake and bake.
It's shake and bake time. Shake and bake, buddy! Shake it before you bake it!
Did you mean to drink your Mountain Dew in the middle of that? That was perfect.
Yes.
That was
Okay.
good.
Yeah, that was
I
good.
do want you guys to know that while away out of the country last week, Scott and I were riding motorcycles through the Himalaya mountains at one point, and we're about to take this really cool ride, and Scott looked back at me and went, he pulled out the hand motions and shake and bake from the state of Ladakh in the Himalaya mountains. So just know you guys got
International
some play.
star.
Yeah, he sent me a picture in the middle of that trip too, dude. I was dying.
That's awesome, man.
dying.
So yeah, we got some shake and bake action on some motorcycles, and so we listened to the last podcast, Only Home from the Airport. So you guys did a great job, man.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
good. Well done,
Yeah,
man.
much easier for some reason to get through it all and provide
Yeah, it was a great
content.
conversation. Yeah,
We got to talk a little. It was nice.
yeah, it was nice.
Didn't have this idiot sit
Burn!
That's
Welcome
pretty
home.
awesome. Yeah, well,
we
there
missed
you
you.
go. It's good to be back, man.
Yeah,
It was good to listen to y'all. Y'all really did a great job, man.
thanks.
Spur some good discussion.
Yeah, we got more today on the same topic.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, we'll go and dive in. We're going to continue our talk about AI, artificial intelligence. We kind of did a little bit of intro last week, if you missed it or haven't listened to it yet, where we talk about AI. We talk about if there is a ethics or ethical dilemma for Christians, and kind of maybe where some of those lines are for using it, not using it, and that sort of thing. And so definitely want to encourage you to check that out. We really focused on AI in the Bible, as like Bible study, Bible reading, as well as things like summer prep. So today we're kind of asking sort of a foundational question, and that question is, what is AI ontologically speaking? Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's
Ontologically?
it, man.
I didn't even know what that word was, so we're going to start there.
And then what is it in its being? So ontology, kind of being the study of being, right? I mean, it's really what it is. What
that's
something
right.
is at its core.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit because it's important that before we ask questions like, is AI useful? Is it dangerous? We have to ask, what is it? I mean, we gave a little bit of history last week, but we're going to kind of talk about what it is from an ontological standpoint, from its being, from its core, because that's really going to drive really a lot of the conversation as believers is defining it and kind of deciding, is this something that is created out of nothing, which we're going to get into that a little bit. Is it something that can evolve? We'll get into that a little bit. Can it learn and adapt, or is it something else? So we'll kind of dive into that, but really just jumping right into is, what is AI? Not what it does, but what it is.
Right. I think this for me is a super important question, because and Chris, you and I were talking yesterday, and I told you as Scott and I were driving back from the airport, we were listening to the podcast from last week, and the thing that continues to pop into my mind is this issue of ontology. Ontology is the what we are being, and there's a philosophical argument for the existence of God in apologetics called the ontological argument for the existence of God. It argues that like we can't conceive of something that doesn't exist. God is the only being who can create from nothing. So which makes him holy, completely set apart, the only creator. And so mankind does not have the capacity. We're not him. So we don't have the capacity to create from nothing. So part of our image-bearing capacity is as his stewards. We are creators, but we don't create from nothing. We only create from what exists already.
Right? Rearrange what he's already made.
Yeah, that's right. We rearrange and put together what God has already made. And so when I talk about AI, AI is not something that man brought into existence. Intelligence exists. The question I have ontologically is, what exactly is AI? And I'm going to tell you, I don't have an answer for that. It's just a question that I have. Because when we're talking about what it is, that to me determines how I engage with it. Because mankind has rearranged through technology the capacity for technology to act sentient in some manner, like to act like it has life and intellect. And so ontologically speaking, my question is, what exactly is AI at its being? Because if it's displaying intellect, my question then is, what kind of intellect and where did that intellect come from and what's informing it? Because if it's neutral, that's one thing. If it's positive, that's one thing. If it's negative, that's another. And I don't have answers. I'm just telling you, ontologically, I have lots of questions about what it is at its being.
Yeah.
And so we rearranged it. And what does that reflect? Does that make it all sense? Because it's not like it's just computing.
Yeah.
There's
I got
more
answers
going
for you
on
if
here.
you want.
Please, I want to hear your answers because it's going to affect how I go really and engage with AI. Because I'm still in that place where I think Google's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I had had someone listen to the podcast last week, and friend, she actually wrote me some notes and sent it to me. And it's funny that you said that on the sentient. I didn't even know what that meant. I mean, I think she's way smarter than me, by the way. But she said that AI is not sentient nor capable of original thought. So that kind of goes with what you're saying. Like it's not human, and it is regurgitating. So you cannot be capable of.
And so, all right, so go ahead.
Sorry, I got it.
Because I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask it first or you want me to go first? Because
Are we capable of original thought? Because again, we can't, like, there is no such thing as from nothing. So every thought we have is a compilation of things already existent. Like, we don't have original thoughts.
Yeah,
Like,
I think when you're talking about the difference in that and man, what am I trying to say? We are capable of creating, but from we're putting an order to what's already there.
That's right.
And that can be original thought. Does that make sense? I guess
That
it
does make
depends.
sense.
You know what I'm saying? I guess it depends on what the basis of your original of your question is.
A different rearrangement according to our wiring versus a canned arrangement of things. So so it's not from nothing, but it's original in that the way I'm put together, I took a different route to that thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
because
that.
you wouldn't have inventions and stuff, people with innovative minds. You know what I mean? They're taking things that are already there. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
We didn't make those things, but we were bringing order and dominion over them.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
have original thoughts peer to peer, but not from nothing at all.
Well, I mean, we all know that
make it up.
God is the only one who is all knowing. He's the only one that's created everything. And so when you look from that basis, then yes, nothing is original. It's all his.
Right.
But when you're looking at it from us taking what he has given us to bring order about, then I do think that he through us gives us the original thought. If you're looking at it from that standpoint, that's kind of where my mind is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what you got?
So let's dive in a little bit to what AI is and what it's not, because a lot of it has to do with hype and misunderstanding. And so first off, AI is human-made systems built from pre-existing materials, data, and logic. So it's not alive, it's not self-existent, and it's not a new form of being. There are hopes to get there, and I'll cover some of what the future, what people believe the future will hold, and I think that's a different question, and we'll come back to that. To some other types of AI, but currently, as we speak now, it's important that we kind of strip away the hype a little bit. So AI it's pattern recognition, it's statistical prediction, it's language modeling, and it's data processing. It does not possess a soul. It doesn't have a consciousness, self-awareness, or a moral agency. So in other words, it doesn't think. It calculates based on patterns. I think in order to make sense of it, humans, we use the word think, and we use the word aware and evolve, but it's not actually thinking. It's calculating based on patterns and the current data. So it appears intelligent, but it's not ontologically intelligent. John Searle, who's a philosopher, he says programs are syntactic, minds are semantic. So in other words, AI manipulates symbols and humans understand meaning. So kind of another difference there. So yeah, it's not a new being, but we often, and I say we, I don't mean us in particular, but humans we use the words like it's thinking or it's processing in a way that humans do, but it's really not. It's a system of algorithms and data processing that has gotten better and has improved, but it still can only pull from things that currently exist.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So here's another follow-up question here, because I think in terms of, can non-humans use technology? Like, because we had this discussion in our elders meeting, like can non-human beings in the unseen realm manipulate physical human technology?
Yes.
All right. So if that's the case, then is there the capacity that in that physical description of what AI is it possible that non-human intelligence can inhabit it and manipulate it?
Yeah, but so can they in everything.
Right. Right.
So I think that there's a and we talked about a little bit of this last week. That there's a generalized fear of using technology for what you're describing.
Right.
And I think that's where I grow a little bit ill a little bit with some Christian subcultures. Like we want to isolate ourselves from that, right? Which we have to learn how to operate in the public square. Like there isn't anything. I mean, there isn't anything that evil or other beings don't use to help us or to help them get us to keep our eyes off of Jesus, right? So they can use anything. So you name it. AI is just one of those things that they're capable of using. So I think anything can be used for evil. It's we see that throughout all of Scripture as well.
Yeah. So the capacity for deception lies not in the tool, but the message you're receiving from the tool.
Yeah, and it's whether or not you have the discernment in order to know what message you're receiving.
To pick it out.
Man, she also sent me this guy named Novtour. I don't know if I'm not on X, but she sent me this article from this guy. And they said they did a Brown University researched Chat GPT because a lot of people are using AI for their therapists.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
So they did a study, licensed psychologists did a study on that, and they found 15, I don't know what the basis was, like how many studies it is, probably in here. I'll send you guys the article, but they found 15 major ethical violations from the responses that Chat GPT gave back people when they're asking about therapeutic questions.
Right.
And so it's like, because sometimes in our minds too, and we're in that conversation about it was like, AI is pulling from all different kinds of sources. Like it's not just pulling from one source. It's like you go to Google and you type in something, it's using AI to generate the responses back, and who knows what source it's pulling from, right? And the fact that it's designed to give you an answer. It's not designed to not know. So that's when we go back last week and talk about that's why we know it hallucinates. It's going to give you an answer whether it's right or wrong.
Kind of like that person who can't
say I don't know.
Who can't say I don't know,
Yeah.
so they manufacture crap.
That's right.
So AI may manufacture crap if it doesn't know.
Absolutely. So that's where the human discernment comes in to the whole picture, right?
And there's also ways to manipulate even that. There's like we have search engine optimization, right? SEO. So I can, in a way,
That's what SEO.
Is that your first time learning what SEO
Yeah,
was?
no, I've seen
What was
people like on our SEO.
Search engine optimization.
Oh,
So
SEO.
I can make it so that people.
That's crazy. I know I'm an ignorant fool
Hey,
here
I
at
don't-
times, but I had no clue. And I was like, I've seen SEO, but you just like
Yeah.
you solved the riddle.
We talked about geofencing one time on the podcast.
That's
if you remember
right.
that,
Yeah, I remember
where
that,
churches were going in and they were targeting areas around their church and then around other churches so that their ads would be seen by people on the campus of another church. No, which is totally unethical and just wrong in our opinion.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But it's not wrong to like for instance. Okay, we got Good Friday and Easter coming up, right? So I ran a Facebook ad this for the last couple weeks. Kind of just here's what we're doing. I made a landing page and everything, and I can target that ad based on geography, age, likes, a ton of different things, or I can use Facebook's basically their AI interpretation of that. And so
That's impressive.
There are ways for humans to manipulate that system through algorithms, and that's another reason to be cautious. And so if people are constantly manipulating algorithms and the data based on things like location and race and all these different things, then it's going to make a lot of the answers more skewed. You brought up using ChatGPT and things as a therapist.
Yeah.
Well, think about that for a minute, because so what is a therapist, like a human therapist, generally doing, right? When you're going to talk to them, they're trying to recognize patterns, predict outcomes or outputs, and they're processing data. All those are things that AI does. Mm-hmm. So could it be a really effective therapist as far as giving advice? Absolutely. It could be spot on. Now, it could also give you bad ones because we don't know what it's pulling from. And so this is where lies a lot of the confusion, because it's easy to trust when it's right.
Yeah, I don't. Part of this article, this is just saying what you just said, but I don't. I agree with. I know what basis you're saying, but it's kind of like I don't know. It says ChatGPT mishandled crisis situations. When users expressed suicidal thoughts, it failed to direct them to the appropriate help. It refused to address sensitive issues or responded in ways that could make a crisis worse. It says it reinforced harmful beliefs instead of challenging distorted thinking, which is entire point of therapy. It agreed with the distortion.
Yeah, exactly.
See, this is some of my concern. I'm super skeptical, and the reason I'm skeptical is because because when the human brain is not engaged, taking its curiosity to the human capacity to figure things out, short-circuiting that process makes us dumber. Like, intelligence is gained by curiosity going and searching for and finding. And what's happening there is the tool is replacing us. And so rather than us going and finding answers, and because time, I think, is important. Like, we need sometimes time to discern. And so by going and getting an instant response, by not having to search and discern, that there are already studies out that are showing IQ begins to drop in people who use AI. Like, their IQ scores are shifting because what's not happening is the time invested in searching. It's instant, and they're taking the answers they get, and then the human brain isn't growing the synapses and integrating the hemispheres of the brain, because that's the part that concerns me, is because our ontology, who we are as beings, we're image bearers of God, and we have the capacity to create from what God gave, but that takes time.
Yeah.
It takes 63 days, Dr. Caroline Leaf, for two synapses on both hemispheres of the brain to connect. It's a 63-day process. Now, if I'm not investing 63 days to grow the integration of my brain through careful study, then what's happening is my brain becomes disorganized, and there's a disorientation in my brain because information is coming in without growing the synapses between the half. That's where mental and emotional problems come. I'm huge into brain science. I'm fascinated by neuroscience, and what I've found in my study is that the human brain has to be integrated to function well. And when we have this mass input of data without integrating both hemispheres of the brain, we get like literally people who are nuts.
Yeah.
And so my concern is what AI is doing is AI is taking the ontology of the human in their being, and we will be replaced by that thing, whatever it happens to be. That's what's scary to me.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're talking about. I think it's not the use of, it's the misuse of.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, I use it.
Right.
And I honestly, it frees me up to do have time to do things that I need to be more focused on, like strategic thinking. So it's a whole nother different level that now opens the capacity of my brain to think differently, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's room for it, but I do agree with you from the standpoint of when you start doing things that are taking you're taking the role away from the Holy Spirit in our life, that's where it becomes misuse.
Right. Or just taking or misusing it and using it for everything as opposed to allocating your time to something else.
Yeah, that's why the proper use of it, and then there's misuse of it.
Right.
And I think if you don't have a Christian worldview, then it's all the above.
Sure.
Like use it for everything, and then I agree with you. It is you'd be a dumb society, but if you have a Christian worldview, there is a use and a misuse.
Yeah. Well, I think most humans, like we are displaying, we don't have that kind of discipline. I think there's some of us.
You
who
speak
get
for
that.
yourself.
I think there's some of us at this table who can be disciplined with it, and I think I'm still on the ignorant. I was telling Scott on our drive back listening to you guys, like I think I'm still on the front end of learning AI. And Chris has taught me some things. So like I think I treat it like an advanced Google search. Like I don't know how to use it, and I'm frankly a little afraid of that because I know my personality well enough to know like I'm afraid of that. I'm a little afraid of AI, and so I'm super skeptical because like I know myself, and I think I need to learn how to use it, but I am still wondering, like, could the enemy use this tool to dumb down humans to the place that you can allow them to deceive themselves using a tool and turn that tool into something they worship?
Yeah, I'm more concerned with the lack of ethics surrounding it. What I mean by that, like being taught through engineering, there's engineering ethics. Well, you can type a formula into AI and it'll give you the answer. And so what is it doing to ethical things within human beings that we're ethically supposed to be taking responsibility for our own work? So we talk about citing and you're a writer. Same way it is with
I footnote stuff in sermon notes.
So it's like, and we talked about that last time too, having full sermons written by AI and all, that kind of stuff. Ethically, there is no boundaries. There's no AI course on ethics. There's no boundaries to ethics of AI.
Yeah.
AI can't think that way. It can't have a moral.
The human doesn't,
unless it's instilled.
Yeah.
And so
the human doesn't have any boundaries there. It's
correct.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads into one of the questions. We kind of covered one already, so I won't go to that if you're good. But I want to comment on one thing you said, because I think you and I share a similar fascination about the brain and how it works and how we use it. But the brain is not it's different, but it's not that much different than any other muscle. Like if you go to the gym, right? If you only did leg day every day, like, okay, that would be really good for your legs, but you would be missing out on on balance, right?
That's right.
And the brain's not any different. If you're like, it needs balance to work properly. One of the things we're seeing a lot now is, and especially, I don't know if this has come down to like the high school level yet, but in colleges in particular, a lot of professors allow AI tools such as note generators and things for lecturing. So I don't know if, I'm not going to assume you know anything about AI. So there are many that can. They record audio.
Okay.
And it will create an outline and notes for you.
Dang, man.
But what happens, and we know this from numerous studies, is that there's something about listening intently to someone speak. Just like, you see people, like, I don't see people using that on Sunday mornings, thankfully. I see a lot of people taking notes and things. And so there's something that happens when we hear something and we listen intently, and then we physically write down what we have heard, whether it's verbatim quote, or it's here's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
There's something that's using the brain in a specific way. When you remove that, can you still learn the material and ace the test? Absolutely, because that's been done for you. But the less you use that component of the brain, the less it's going to be able to function properly when you're making decisions.
Well, see, part of that too, what I'm discovering here in this discussion, listening to you guys in today, is that this issue is infinitely deep, because part of learning isn't just mastering the content, it's relational connection. Like, I learned this as like when seminaries did the online or distance learning thing. My first seminary course was at New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary via the Distance Learning Center at a church in Decatur, Georgia. And it was a class on Amos. And I sat in the basement of that church with about 40 other guys watching this dude on the screen. And I remember going, I can't do this. Like, this is not, like, because already then I was checking out.
Yeah.
And I was already at that point a little bit of an academic. I learned I could learn. I'd graduated with a bachelor's degree. And I'm like, this is driving me mad. And I literally finished that class and applied to Southwestern Seminary and moved to Texas, because I'm like, I'm not going to do this. And so so what I found is, for me, learning is very relational. So I still have connections to professors that just changed my life.
Yeah.
And so the idea that I could learn data and be disconnected from relationship, that to me smells bad. Like, it just doesn't. And then it raises the question, then, is AI providing means for me to get data without building any kind of relationship with another human being? And I'm not sure that's healthy, because I can master the content and not know anybody. And is that what God intends? Is information intended for relational enhancement or just mere assimilation of data? And I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm leaning one way and going, man, is that good?
Yeah. I think that even the interaction, though, with AI, there's still a teaching component of it to interact with it well. You know what I mean? Like,
Perfect transition to
good.
to the question we're going to ask.
Right, yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. You can finish.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's not like you just plop something in there, like in some broken, Silver Creek English.
Burn!
Burn!
By God.
And it instantly gives you this beautiful thing, right?
Right.
Like, there's a teaching of, even through that process. So there is a process to using the tool. It is a tool.
Right.
It's like any other machine. Like, you don't go into a machine, the machine automatically knows how to make steel. And I'm just using that because of my, you have to design the machine, you have to teach the machine, you have to automate the machine. All that takes human interaction, right? And so there is an interactive part to.
But you're interacting with a machine.
Yeah, but so okay, tell me the difference then in the modern day printing press. Would you go back to the old, and then one sheet at a time, or would you rather?
That's pretty awesome.
Did you know what I'm talking about? Or they had to
it's a Gutenberg print. You had the individual letters. You had to put them in the thing and like.
Yeah. I mean, so it takes 15 years to do one page.
I mean, were we smarter then or now?
Well, what I'm saying is like, we're talking human versus human machine, right?
Yeah, and that raises another question: is like, what's the
He
level
wants to get
of
to this question. He's like, dang.
What's the level of automation where we stop being the image bearer and we pass that off to a machine? Like, what is that place where we maximize something for its usefulness versus it begins to replace what we were designed to do and be? And I don't know the answer to that question, because as image bearers of God, what I believe is we are capable of incredible things.
Yeah.
When Jesus even said, greater things than these you will do because I go to the Father, meaning we would have ministries that would be greater than his.
So let me ask this. So like just popped in my head, the pyramids.
Right.
We all know that is a feat.
And the Egyptians found them. They didn't build them.
Well, anyway,
going on record
whatever.
Now.
Somebody had to build them, right? And so let's assume
it was not the Egyptians.
Let's assume it was the humans. And so, with that, do you think that it was wrong that they all of a sudden they came to the knowledge of a lever, and that they could lift 3 times the weight that they could with 4 Egyptians.
No,
so you know what I'm saying. So that's machine versus human. So it's you dumb down the other humans
sons
because
of God helped pre-Egyptians build them.
Maybe this is a bad example, but
Example
you see what I'm
ruins.
saying? Like
Yeah, I understand.
there's a balance there,
Right.
and it shifts humans into thinking differently.
Yeah.
It doesn't change, and it changes how we're interacting.
It does change how we're interacting.
Yeah.
And I'm the skeptic on AI, and I'm super.
This is why this conversation is so much fun.
It is fascinating, and I really don't know what to do with this because I want some efficiency. I want order.
Yeah.
But what I don't want order to do is replace what we're capable of, and I think. I mean, I'm of the opinion that part of the restoration of all things is that we're already called sons of God, but what God means by that is we will be like the sons of God. We were intended to be somewhat like the sons of God who did the Genesis 6 sin. Like our capacity is greater than we can ever imagine. And in the restoration of all things, we're going to have a creative capacity that we don't know and understand because of the curse of sin. And what I don't want to do in sanctification is sell that out to let a machine do what I'm capable of doing. Because I think there's a level of delight that I can have by learning and figuring something out that I might lose by letting a machine do it for me.
Okay, man, I'm gonna give you a really good example. This is real life.
Okay.
So working in the steel mill, we had a saw that cut to length all of the bars that came off the mill. Right. We had one saw operator was absolutely one of the best operators I've ever seen, and he was manually operating. Every time he'd pull things up, he would, have to move the conveyor belt, the rolls, the roll line, right, all the way up, stop it, align it, hit the cut, come back, and he was good. He was really good.
Yeah.
So it came time to where we needed to automate that because we needed consistency because there was inconsistency. You go from one operator to the next, you would lose 20% of production. I'm just throwing numbers out.
Makes sense.
He was one of the most difficult persons to get to accept automation. The reason is because his mind only thought one way, which is operating the machine, and I can go faster than this automation can do. So we did. We had to mess around a little bit with just, it's like, okay, let us do this. Let us help you walk through this, right? Well, when we automate, because we automated it the way that he did it. Well, when it was automated, it showed that there was consistent operations. Well, what did it do? Next thing you know, he's sitting back now putting his eyes on the operation all the time because no longer is he looking at 14 screens and doing all kinds of buttons. He's watching the operation. He took that now and helped us automate that 20% faster than what he was capable of doing. So now his mind had time to shift from then doing a manual thing to now having to think about, okay, how do I make that faster? So he's still thinking.
Right.
He's actually now using a different part of his brain in order to continue to learn. And so I just think it's the way you look at the difference between the human and machine interface. I don't think it makes us dumber. It makes us think different.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think there's an argument to be made that misuse could make us dumber or overuse in some aspects. But I think we would agree.
Yeah, if you had your thing, write your wife a love letter, okay, misuse. I was like,
that's
dumb. That's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's
shouldn't send
misuse. That would be, Brittany, if you're listening.
But we use greeting cards that are written by somebody else to convey message.
Yeah, but you're right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Come on, man.
All right. Since the transition window has gone away now.
Yeah, no, sorry. Back to your question.
But, well, in a way, it's still there because we're also having a conversation a little bit about identity kind of underneath what we're talking about. So one of the key components, we were created by a creative creator to create and to does that make sense? I said it very slowly, carefully. To create things, and in order to create things, we steward resources that we've been given to create. So I think if we look at it at that concept, this is a tool to do that.
Yeah.
One of the most revealing aspects about AI and the way we kind of differentiate here is what we talked about. Like if you use it as let's just go back to ChatGPT because that's the most common. If you use it as a Google search, you're using it wrong.
Yeah, that's. I use Grok on Twitter
because
I don't use ChatGPT, but it is an advanced Google search. That's what I know.
So
how to do.
One of the main differentiators is AI must be prompted, right?
Okay.
It must be told who it is, how to respond, and what role to play. So it's given identity, but that identity can be changed at any moment to get to a certain outcome. Whereas we receive our identity in Christ from God, and that never changes if we are in Him. And so my question here is, if AI must be prompted and given identity, what does that reveal about its limitations and about human identity, right? Because one of the things it reveals, AI has no inherent identity, no internal awareness, and no self-definition. So it's entirely dependent on external instruction.
Yeah,
and it can only output what someone inputs it to do.
Yeah, there's a whole new what was it? Not I don't even know if it's a degree, but it's a whole new frame of thought in prompt engineering. So there's a whole way that people are learning how to prompt, and so in the way that you ask the question, there's then the science of the study behind that, and so there's a whole different domain, really, and a whole different frame of mind that you have to be in order to learn that. So I don't know. I think it's such a deep topic.
It is a deep topic because even now, like I'm thinking, because we have the issues of data centers in Northwest Georgia. AI is a data center is pretty much where AI is happening, right? And so one of the questions I have is, what is the ecological impact? Because of the frequencies that come off of those places, and we know if we're paying attention, frequency affects humans. Yeah. Because God made it such. And so that's not New Age to recognize frequency. God made frequency, and it affects humans in different ways, low, high frequencies. And so we've let pagans have those things, but they're given to us for use. That's why music affects mood, right? That's why Welcome to the Jungle gets you ready to earhole somebody as opposed to, what's the Careless Whisper? Like, you don't play Careless Whisper at kickoff, right? That's that's for later. That's after.
Depends on if you're a psycho.
It depends if you're a psycho. So frequency is going to affect people who live around a data center. Its use of water. And what does it do what's the ecological impact of data centers? And so is speeding up something actually causing physical harm to humans because of data centers? I don't know. It's a good question. What happens to the water? Is it like when water is used to cool, because they have to be near water sources, is that water, like how? Nobody's answered that question. And so what happens to water sources where data centers are?
A lot of those are closed systems in their makeup. You just have makeup water. So it's actually, there's no cleaning up. It just evaporates. So like in a cooling, how a cooling tower works. Mm-hmm. So you have a basin, and the water's pumped from the top or from the bottom to the top. The water trickles down and air flows across it, which cools the water. That's a closed system. Mm-hmm. So the only thing you're doing when the water evaporates, you're just putting more water in.
Right.
So you're using those source, right, and not returning it. We talked about this.
Yeah. So the water is not returned to its source.
No.
So that could, if it evaporates, this water vapor goes back in the sky. It's going to rain somewhere.
Yeah. So you can say that.
So that's, to some degree, it's a less efficient method of recycling the water, but nonetheless, the ecological impact is just.
No, it is. And one thing we talked about, I think it was after last week, you and I were every time we close one of these things down, we probably stand in or sit in here another 10 minutes and keep talking.
That actually may be, that may be really cool. It's like extra stuff for the podcast, like keep recording.
Do extras.
Extras. Because sometimes our post conversations are better than the podcast.
Like the Office Superfan episodes.
Because we talked about was like to me
unrated.
To me, there is a limit to how far we can go because of the physical limit of the resources it takes in order for these data centers. So water, power. All those things are all part of the conversation now because the power grid only takes so much. You only have so much water. So all that becomes part of the equation, right?
Which is why nuclear power may be a good use of, because if you had nuclear reactors, that could power those things.
Maybe, but that's water source. So
yeah, that's water
there's,
too.
Yeah, so there's just a lot that revolves around natural resources that limits the capacity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So there's not an endless like building of this thing. It's
Right.
got a capacity. And what is that? I mean, that's still out there.
I know you have other questions too, but again, the AI prompts, I think it's an endless, like, because I think human history, there's nothing new under the sun, right?
Yeah.
We've been here before. And so I wonder to where's that place that we are approaching the same place that happened again where God said there's nothing impossible for them.
Oh, yeah, right.
So therefore, that's enough.
Well, I guess if
As in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. And,
I guess if Ham moves forward with his Babel Tower, I guess we want to watch out.
there you go. That's right. And I know this is going to come off as like,
It's gonna be a giant data center.
This data center looks like a ziggurat. We have
We
problems.
are in trouble.
We're in trouble. And I'm coming off as the old fuddy-duddy here, but
You are. It's
thank you. I
okay. It's
appreciate
fun.
it.
Yeah.
It's perfect. That's
Yeah, it's another
got-
dynamic.
You double
I love
down
that.
on
It's
by
like-
you double down on that by using the phrase "fuddy duddy."
As if you didn't know already. I use fuddy.
Whippersnapper, get off my lawn.
By God, get off my lawn. It does. It makes me concerned. Like, is it one of those things that we're approaching again? One of those phases where human ingenuity has passed that line of demarcation of what is good for us and not good for us. And is it becoming something that is? Because I'm not so sure it can't become sentient. Like, because again, I know people smarter brains than me are going to say, "No, idiot, it's a computer." But if
It'd be like Terminator, like go full on.
Perfect
Terminator.
transition.
Age of Ultron, like
Some other-
I
Ultron,
got another transition. Let him transist this time.
yeah, transition.
Yeah.
Well, so let's. I don't think that's a word, but
We just made it one.
It is in Silver Creek.
It is evident that I'm the old dude.
all right. So I want to clarify. So I'm citing proper sources. There's a book called "AI in the Church." We got on my desk in there, and I forget the author. My apologies to the author, but there is a lot of fear because it's unknown. We still don't understand its capacity. So there's the fear is for a lot of people is that we're moving at some point to one of two things: AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. I'll explain what that is in a minute. Or even further, the next step beyond that would be ASI, artificial superintelligence. So AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, embodies the capability to understand, learn, and apply intelligence across a broad spectrum of problems, which mirrors human cognitive abilities. So this concept moves beyond the specialized
That's already
functionality
happening.
of current AI systems. We're not there yet, but it's
happening.
some of that is.
Yeah.
And this is an envisioning of machines that can adapt, reason, plan, and make decisions in varied contexts like a human, which would be similar to your Jarvis from the Iron Man and Avengers movies, or Kit from Knight Rider.
Yeah.
Things like that. So that's kind of rather than just your Chat GPT standard. That's AGI. We're not really close to that, but there are pieces that make it look like we're on that path, and we could be, we could not be. I think that's another.
Well, they call it
debate, but
generative AI, like it generates itself.
It does, but it's still pulling from existing. It's still not actually
Yeah.
adapting and learning. I mean, it is, but it's not. That makes
Yeah,
sense. It's
there it
mirroring.
is.
It's mirroring human cognitive abilities, but it's not actually doing that on its own. If that makes sense yet.
Is that what's okay? Is this related to singularity? Because I've heard Elon Musk in a conversation with some really smart dudes in the AI conversation talking about singularity.
I have no idea.
Do you know what singularity is?
heard of that, but
I feel like we're like headed
So-
towards. We need a professional to come join us,
Yes.
be our fourth on one of these episodes, and just be like,
That'd be
and
good.
probably school all of us.
Probably.
So the biggest hang up for the development of AGI hinges on a breakthrough in understanding how human cognition works. So until we can fully understand how human, because we haven't even gotten there yet, we don't fully understand how human cognition works.
Right.
And so until that happens, the AGI can't be fully realized. Like it just can't, they can't coexist because it wouldn't have anything to mirror. It wouldn't be able to teach it how to do that. And so, but that would inform but if that happens, it would inform the creation of AI systems that can mimic that process. And that's the pursuit of what's called artificial superintelligence. So ASI is an AI that can outperform the best human brains practically in every field, including scientific creativity, general wisdom, and social skills. So this is more like the Matrix, Terminator, and iRobot, where machines became self-aware and then were able to function on their own beyond the full capacity of human beings. I don't know that's ever possible. I would say it's not, but we don't know everything either. And so all I would say is hopefully if that happens, those robots will have a good Christ-like behavior and thought process rather than trying to rule the world.
Yeah.
But I bring that up to say a lot of the confusion is people think ChatGPT is AGI or ASI. And I think it's important that we say what we have right now. AI is not. It's a mirror, not a mind.
I saw something about Claude. Claude is the AI of one of the organizations. I forgot. It's like the second most used. Claude. Right. You heard of Claude? Okay, so like part of the discussion is Claude is kind of getting in that direction.
It's the generative AI.
Yes, generative AI. So when we talk about human cognition, one of the reasons we don't understand human cognition is because cognition isn't merely brain. It's the consciousness of man. It's the unseen parts of us. It's we're body, soul, spirit. And so the soul spirit component of us working with the physical plant, right? Yeah. And so if that's the case in humans, is it possible that the physical plant of the machines can be inhabited and influenced by the unseen forces that may want to influence it? You see what I'm saying? Like that we talk about human cognition, we don't know and we'll never know because there's unseen parts of us we can't empirically test. And so is there a physical plant that can then be inhabited by the spirit of something that can affect it? And that for me, because I'm so supernatural in my worldview, that's where our discernment is important. It's like that answer smells like the enemy. And did that come from, is it sentient in that an evil spirit has taken control of it or using it to deceive people?
No, I think that goes back to what is our defense. And our defense is the word. So if we know the word and we have that Christian worldview and we still have our relationship and conversations with the Holy Spirit, then I think that you go about it in that in the way with the protection on. What do we go back a few episodes and we talk about the protection? It's the same thing. So it's just a different thing that we need to protect ourselves from, right? And you can't do that opposite our walking away from or not leaning into the word and what he said to go and do, which in community and talking, sharpening one another.
That's good.
Yeah, and I think you guys touched on this a little bit about like and kind of knowing the word. I think pastors mailing it in and I know some situations that I've been made aware of where dudes are writing letting AI write sermons, and I'm going, that's not knowing the word, because there's a whole lot more for us to learn, and it's like it's super concerning for me, and so I'm like, it's concerning, and there's lots to learn. I still don't know enough to know what I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so that always gives me pause. And so part of me feels like I was born to live in the 1700s, but I'm alive now. And so I would have liked the duel days and the cowboy days. And now, but here we are in the age of like Ultron. And sometimes I don't know how to interact. And this is one of those places where I'm like, I'm super skeptical. But at the same time, trying to figure it out. And I think you guys are asking really good questions.
Well, I think therein lies aspects of our human identity that we need to tap into. It's like, like I could go into a nuclear power plant and start pushing buttons and kind of figure out, but that's probably a bad idea because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what all those things mean.
That'd be a very bad idea.
Right. Yeah. And it's really not that different in the fact of, either don't use it until you're educated on it or understand what some of the guardrails need to be before using it, and it's kind of it's a simplified. It may be one of those like if you have to ask, don't do it kind of situations.
Yeah.
But we faced the same thing with the creation of the internet. The same thing was going on. We created power plants. When we created television, there was this is brand new. I don't understand. Like it's cool. I can see the benefit of it, but where does it end? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The warfare never changes. The battlefields do.
Yeah, that's great.
And so
That's
it's just
good.
it's kind of like yeah. Well, I mean, it's literally
Palmer
that's,
pipe in. I like that.
Did you write that, or did that just come to mind?
it came to my mind
Nice. Yeah, I write
because
that.
it's like we're not yeah, right. We're not talking about anything different than what we are fighting against in general. We're fighting against things that we can't see, and
Right.
and it's just a different place to fight, and so be ready for the fight, and just know it's a different place to fight.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I've got probably more questions than answers.
We got more episodes.
Yeah, we
on
got
this.
more episodes.
Yeah,
Episodes. I'm still jet lagged.
Jeez. Yeah.
Episodes.
You can only blame that on for one more week.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe one more day. I need to milk this.
Yeah, that's right.
Why don't you takeaways us, man?
Do it.
You got any more content?
You just turn that into a verb. Nice.
I did, dude. We do. We
Yeah.
need a jingle for Hayes takeaways.
I know. I'll ask AI to create one.
It's like Wayne's World.
Oh yes, Wayne's World, Hayes World, party time, excellent.
That's a great movie. Both of those.
That is a great
All right.
movie. It's
Hayes
fantastic.
takeaways. Number one, AI is not a new form of life. It is a tool within creations. Only God creates from nothing. Everything else, including AI, is built from what God has already made. And when we understand that, we stop elevating AI beyond what it actually is and keep it in its proper place, which is under God's authority, not alongside it. Number two, AI imitates intelligence but does not possess it. So it can simulate thought, language, and reasoning, but it does not understand, feel, or know truth. And as Christians, we must not confuse convincing output with genuine wisdom. Wisdom comes from God, not from data patterns. Number three, AI's dependence on prompts reveals its lack of identity and highlights ours. AI must be told who it is. Humans already know who they are because God has spoken. We are image bearers, not programmable entities. So the more that we see how AI functions, the more it should remind us of the uniqueness and dignity of being human. Number four, the greatest danger of AI is misplaced trust, not raw capability. So AI can sound right while being slightly off, and that's where deception thrives. So spiritual warfare is a battle over truth, and anything that subtly reshapes our dependence away from God becomes a vulnerability. And then finally, just a question to ponder this week. Ask this regularly. Is this tool drawing me toward God or replacing my need for Him? AI can either assist your walk with God or quietly erode it. So the difference is not necessarily in the tool, but it's in your posture. So stay rooted in Scripture, led by the Spirit, and anchored in truth.
Dude, that's tight. Good stuff. Guys, thank you, man. It's fun.
Yeah,
good to
that's
be
good.
back. Good to be
Yeah.
home. And thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. Thanks for asking questions. Thanks for interacting with us. It's really cool to learn that we've got listeners by God's mercy and grace all around the world and even here in Rome, Georgia. And so it's pretty cool. Thank you for participating. Thanks for asking questions. If you have questions, send them to us at theologyinthedirt@gmail.com. You can go on YouTube and leave a comment. You can give us 5-star rating, all that fun stuff, and share the podcast. We really appreciate it. So we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for listening and watching this, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Y'all take care. Out.